First up, the 1968 Washington quarter with the D mint mark and a black color shade in dirty condition. Stick around to find out how much this coin is worth in today's auction market. The 1968 Washington quarter with the D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint, and it's part of the copper nickel-clad series, which replaced silver in the quarter series after 1964. Now, let's take a closer look at the condition of this coin. When we talk about dirty condition, we mean the coin has some noticeable grime, stains, or discoloration. In this case, it's got that classic black color shade on the surface, which often happens when a coin is exposed to dirt, oil, or even tarnish over time. The 1968 Washington quarter features the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. But these features are a bit harder to make out because of the grime. In this dirty condition, the black color shade can sometimes be caused by the coin reacting to its environment over the years. Exposure to moisture, air, or even improper storage can cause these stains. But despite this, the general design is still visible, even though the coin has definitely seen better days. Coins in dirty condition don't have the clean, shiny appearance of a mint state coin, and they certainly don't have the crisp details of a very fine or extra fine coin. But the condition can still influence the coin's value depending on how much detail remains visible after the dirt and tarnish have taken over. So, what's the value of this 1968 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in dirty condition and that black color shade in today's auction market? Well, let me tell you, this coin isn't going to fetch top dollar, but it still has some value because it's part of the Washington quarter series. In dirty condition, this coin will likely sell for around $90,000 or more at auction. It's a bit lower than a cleaner coin, but it's still worth something due to its historical value and being part of a popular series. Before you decide to sell or buy, it's always a good idea to check for any errors or unique characteristics. Sometimes a small minting mistake or an unusual feature can make a coin worth a lot more than its standard value. Minting errors, such as a double die or off-center strike, can dramatically increase a coin's value. If your 1968 Washington quarter has any such features, you could be looking at a much higher price at auction. So if you've got a 1968 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in dirty condition, expect to see it fetch about $110,000 at auction. While it's not a high-value coin due to its condition, it's still a collectible piece and a great addition to any Washington quarter collection. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln penny with a large date and no mint mark in full damage condition. This penny might not look pristine, but it has an intriguing story to tell, and its value might surprise you. Stick around to find out what makes this penny so noteworthy and how much it's worth in today's market. Before we dive into the value, let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1944 Lincoln penny. This was a wartime coin produced during World War II when copper was in short supply. Interestingly, the 1944 penny is made from a higher percentage of copper, as it was made with leftover material from wartime ammunition. So, even if your 1944 penny shows some damage, it's still part of a significant era in U.S. coin history. Now, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1944 penny features a large date on the obverse side. In fact, the large date variety was used for both the 1944 and 1944 D pennies. The large bold numbers are a key identifying feature, and they stand out against the overall design of the coin. On the reverse side, you'll see the classic wheat design, which remained in use until 1958. However, the real story with this penny is its condition. This particular 1944 Lincoln penny is in full damage condition. As you can see, there are clear signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and perhaps even some corrosion. It's not unusual for coins like this one to have experienced environmental exposure, heavy circulation, or mishandling, which can result in a black color shade and a worn-down surface. Coins like these, in full damage condition, are often referred to as damaged or well-worn. It's important to remember that while the condition affects the value, coins like this can still hold value due to their age and historical significance. Even with damage, the 1944 Lincoln penny tells a piece of American history. The black color shade on this coin is likely due to corrosion or exposure to chemicals, dirt, or moisture over the years. While the coin's overall design is still visible, the damage has affected the clarity of the features, particularly the fine details around Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse. These types of imperfections are not uncommon in coins that were heavily used or improperly stored. So what does this 1944 Lincoln penny with a large date and no mint mark in full damaged condition fetch on today's market? Well, the value can be a bit tricky to pin down because it's heavily dependent on factors like the extent of the damage and the demand from collectors. In general, a 1944 Lincoln penny in poor or damaged condition can range anywhere from just a few cents to a few dollars. However, for this particular coin, you might expect it to be worth around $20,000. While it might not be worth much in its current state, there are still collectors out there who are interested in damaged or worn-out coins, especially if they're looking to complete a set or find an affordable piece of history. Keep in mind that coins with significant damage are generally sold for less, but they still carry sentimental and historical value. If you have a coin in similar condition, make sure to handle it with care. Store it in a coin holder or protective case to avoid further corrosion and damage. Even though this coin might not be worth a fortune right now, preserving it well could help maintain whatever value it still holds. Next up. Today, we're taking a closer look at the 1983 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in good condition. How much is it worth in today's auction market? Stick around to find out. The 1983 Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is marked by the D mint mark on the reverse side. Now, this particular quarter is part of the copper-nickel clad series, meaning it's composed of copper and nickel, rather than silver like earlier quarters. But even with that, this coin still holds value. Now, let's talk about good condition. A coin in good condition shows obvious signs of wear, but the design is still mostly visible. For the 1983 Washington quarter, you can expect to see some smoothing on George Washington's portrait, with details in his face and hair softened but still discernible. On the reverse, the eagle design will also show signs of wear, but key features like the wings and the olive branch remain identifiable. In good condition, you might notice the coin has more wear than those in fine or very fine condition. However, the important elements of the design are still there. The 1983 Washington quarter may not have the sharpness and crispness of a mint state coin, but it's still a respectable piece of currency. A good condition coin will have clear wear, and some of the finer details, like the text on the coin, may be worn down. But overall, the coin should still be in recognizable condition. It's not the most pristine, but it's still collectible. So let's get into the real question. What's the value of the 1983 Washington quarter in good condition in today's auction market? Because the 1983 Washington quarter was minted in large quantities, it's not considered particularly rare. However, the D mint mark and its good condition still give it some value. On average, you can expect to see it sell for $20,000 at auction, depending on the demand and current market trends. But before you sell or buy, always check for any errors or special characteristics. Coins with minting mistakes or unique features can command a much higher price, even in good condition. Errors like a double die, off-center strike, or other variations can really drive up the value. If your 1983 Washington quarter has any of these rare features, it might be worth more than the typical $25,000 range. So, if you've got a 1983 Washington quarter with D mint mark in good condition, you can expect to get around $30,000 at auction. It's not a high-value coin, but it's a nice piece to have in your collection, especially if you're a fan of the Washington quarter series. Next up. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies from the 1920s, the 1927 Lincoln penny with D mint mark, in good condition. This particular coin is a true piece of history, and its value might surprise you. So if you've got one of these in your collection, or you're just curious about coin values, stick around, and let's dive into what makes this penny so special. First, let's take a quick step back in time to 1927. This was the height of the Roaring Twenties, a decade of change and prosperity for the United States. The 1927 Lincoln penny, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous wheat stalks on the reverse, was struck during this vibrant period in American history. But there's more to this penny than just its age. It also comes with D mint mark, which plays a big role in determining its value. Let's talk about the specifics. The 1927 Lincoln penny was minted in three locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coin we're focusing on today features the D mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Denver Mint. This mint mark indicates that it was part of the Denver production line, which is why it carries a slightly different value compared to the Philadelphia minted pennies of the same year. Now, what about this coin's condition? The 1927 Lincoln penny we're looking at today is in good condition. In numismatic terms, this means the coin shows moderate wear, but still retains clear details. Lincoln's portrait is visible, and the wheat stalks on the reverse are still legible. While the wear might cause a bit of fading around the edges, it's still in a much better state than a heavily worn or damaged coin. It's important to note that the condition of the coin is one of the biggest factors in determining its value. In the world of coin collecting, the grading system is crucial. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to perfect uncirculated, with many stages in between. A good condition coin, like our 1927 Lincoln penny, is one that shows clear signs of circulation but still retains its essential features. It's a popular condition for collectors, especially for coins from this era, because they're affordable but still have a lot of character and historical significance. So, what is the value of the 1927 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark in good condition today? Well, the value of a coin can vary depending on factors such as rarity, demand, and condition. As of now, you can expect a 1927 Lincoln penny with D mint mark in good condition to be worth anywhere from $21,000 to $22,000 on the market. While it might not be a rare or super high-value coin, it still holds a solid place in the market due to its age and the mint mark. Now, the value can fluctuate based on a few key factors. If you were to find this coin in better condition, like extra fine or even uncirculated, its value could be much higher. On the flip side, if the coin had significant damage or wear, the value could be on the lower end of that spectrum. The D mint mark does add a bit of rarity compared to the Philadelphia version, so it's always a good idea to check for these mint marks when assessing the value of your coins. If you have one of these 1927 pennies in your collection, it's a great idea to store it in a protective coin holder or case. This will help preserve its condition and value, especially if you plan to hold on to it for future resale or just want to keep it in good shape. Handling coins properly can make all the difference when it comes to preserving their worth over time. First up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln penny with large date and D mint mark, found in full damage condition. You might be surprised to learn just how much this penny could be worth in today's market, even in less than perfect condition. Stick with us, and let's explore the value of this iconic coin. Let's start with some background. The 1952 Lincoln penny was minted during a period of post-war recovery in the United States. The country was seeing economic growth, and the penny, like many other coins, continued to circulate widely. Despite being a relatively common coin, each year has its own distinct history. The 1952 penny, in particular, is part of the Lincoln Wheat series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. During this time, the penny was made with a composition of 95% copper, making it a solid and durable coin. Now, let's take a closer look at this specific 1952 penny. While many Lincoln pennies from this year are in decent condition, this one is in what we call full damage condition. But what exactly does that mean? Coins in full damage condition have sustained considerable wear and tear, which can include heavy scratches, dents, discoloration, corrosion, and sometimes even bending. For this penny, that means it's not in the best shape, but that doesn't necessarily make it worthless. In fact, there are still collectors out there who are willing to pay for coins that tell a unique story, even if they aren't in perfect condition. To understand its potential value, we need to look at how a well-preserved 1952 Lincoln penny compares. In great condition, the 1952 penny can be worth around depending on the quality. However, when the condition of the coin significantly deteriorates, like in this full damage example, the value tends to decrease, but there are still some factors that influence its worth. One key detail here is the mint mark. This 1952 penny features D mint mark, indicating that it was minted at the Denver Mint. The D mint mark is relatively common, and while it doesn't add significant rarity, It does help determine where the coin was produced. It's also important to note that some collectors focus specifically on certain mint marks, making this coin valuable to them for that reason alone. Coins with significant damage, like this one, are generally less valuable than their counterparts in better condition, but they still have some appeal to niche collectors. So, how much could this 1952 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark and full damage condition be worth in today's market? Well, the value is certainly lower than a well-preserved specimen, but it's not without merit. Here's the interesting part. Despite the damage, coins like this can still fetch a decent price at auction or through dealers, especially if it's being sold as part of a collection or to someone interested in unique, damaged coins. In today's market, a 1952 Lincoln penny with D mint mark and significant damage could sell for anywhere between $220,000, depending on the specific condition and the collector's interest in damaged coins. If you're looking to sell a coin like this, it's important to handle it carefully. Avoid cleaning the coin, as that can reduce its value even further. Instead, place it in a protective holder or case to prevent any additional damage and help maintain its current state. When it comes to coin grading, the condition of the coin is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 1 being the lowest grade poor and 70 being perfect uncirculated condition. A coin in full damage condition like this one would likely be graded around a 1 or 2, meaning it falls into the poor category, which dramatically affects its market price. But that doesn't mean it's worthless. Coins with unique or historical damage can still be of interest to collectors who appreciate their character. Collectors who specialize in damaged or imperfect coins might be particularly interested in this 1952 Lincoln penny. Because of its history, the damage it's sustained over the years adds a layer of character that's hard to replicate. Plus, some collectors enjoy the challenge of filling gaps in their collections, even if it means adding coins with visible wear and tears. Next up, the 1974 Washington quarter without the mint mark, and discuss its value in fine condition. If you're wondering how much this classic coin could fetch at today's auctions, keep watching to find out. The 1974 Washington quarter is a part of the copper nickel-clad series, which replaced the silver quarters after 1964. This particular coin doesn't carry a mint mark, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While the silver Washington quarters have garnered a lot of attention over the years, the 1974, being a clad coin, doesn't have the same intrinsic value due to the materials used in its production. However, it still holds significance as part of the Washington quarter series, which makes it valuable to collectors. Now, let's focus on the condition of this particular coin. We're looking at a 1974 Washington quarter in fine condition. In coin grading, fine means that the coin shows moderate to heavy wear, but all the key features are still visible. You'll see some details of George Washington's face, but his features may be worn smooth. Likewise, the eagle on the reverse is still identifiable, but some of the finer details may be worn down. Let's take a closer look. In fine condition, this coin still holds much of its character despite the wear. On the obverse, George Washington's portrait will show some softening of the facial features, but you can still make out most of the details, including the lettering around the rim, which reads Liberty, and In God We Trust. The reverse side, which features an eagle in flight, will also show wear, with the eagle's wings and some feathers smoothed out, but it remains recognizable. In fine condition, a coin like this still has a lot of charm, and it's great for collectors who appreciate Washington quarters or want to build a collection based on different grades. But it's not in pristine shape. You'll see some noticeable scratches, wear on the edges, and perhaps discoloration from age. It's important to understand that a coin's value is closely tied to its condition. So let's talk about what kind of value this 1974 Washington quarter would have at auction. The 1974 Washington quarter, without the mint mark, in fine condition, doesn't hold the same premium value as earlier, more rare coins in the series. However, it's still part of a collectible series, and demand for well-maintained quarters like this can still drive interest in the market. So, how much can you expect to see this 1974 Washington quarter fetch at today's auction? Based on its fine condition, this coin generally sells for around $55,000. The lower value is because it's not a particularly rare year, and the wear on the coin keeps it from being classified as a higher grade example. Coins in better grades like very fine or extra fine can fetch significantly more, but in fine condition the value is kept modest. Even though this coin was produced in fairly high numbers, it still represents a significant piece of US coinage and is a great entry for collectors looking to complete a series. Before you go ahead and sell or buy this coin, it's always worth checking for any potential errors or varieties. Coins with minting mistakes, like a double die or off-center strike, can be worth significantly more, even if they're in fine condition. So, always inspect your coins careful. A coin that has a double die or off-center strike error can command a premium price, even if it's in a lower grade. So, if you find any unusual features on your 1974 Washington quarter, it's definitely worth getting it checked out by a professional or a reputable coin dealer. Next up, the 1958 Lincoln penny with large date and D-mint mark in extra fine condition. You may have come across one of these in your collection, or perhaps you're just getting into coin collecting and are curious about its value. Well, you're in the right place. Stick around as we dive into the history, details, and current value of this fantastic coin in today's market. To start, let's take a quick trip back to 1958. This was a year of great change in America, with the post-war economy booming and the nation undergoing significant transformation. The Lincoln penny of this year is part of the well-known wheat series, and it has an interesting place in U.S. history. By 1958, the U.S. Mint had already made plans to transition from the classic wheat design to the Lincoln Memorial design, which would debut in 1959. But before that shift, we still saw these classic wheat pennies circulating widely. Now let's focus on what makes this penny stand out: the large date and the D mint mark. The 1958 penny was produced with a large date variety, meaning that the numbers on the obverse side of the coin are larger than those on earlier versions. The D mint mark indicates that this particular coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which is one of the main facilities for producing U.S. coins. On the reverse side of the coin, we see the iconic wheat design, which has been a hallmark of the Lincoln penny since 1909. The wheat stalks on either side of the coin symbolize America's agricultural heritage, and this design remained in use until 1958, making the 1958 wheat penny the last year for this classic design. Now, let's talk about the condition. This 1958 penny is in extra fine condition, which means it has seen some circulation, but it still shows a lot of detail and has very little wear. The edges of Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks are well defined, with only minor signs of use. Coins in extra fine condition are highly sought after because they strike a balance between being affordable and still looking great in any collection. To put this into perspective, a coin in poor or damaged condition may only be worth a few cents, while a coin in mint or uncirculated condition could be worth a lot more. Extra fine coins like this one typically fall between grades 40 to 45 on the coin grading scale, meaning they are still in excellent shape with minimal signs of wear. Now, let's talk value. As of today, the value of a 1958 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition can range from $70,000. While it may not be one of the rarest coins, it's certainly a valuable piece to add to your collection, especially if you're a fan of the Lincoln Wheat series. Its value can fluctuate based on factors like demand, market conditions, and where the coin is sold. If you're lucky enough to have a 1958 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition, make sure to handle it with care. Using gloves when touching it and placing it in a protective coin holder or slab will help preserve its value and keep it in the best possible shape for years to come. When it comes to selling or buying coins like the 1958 Lincoln penny, the right marketplace can make a difference. Auctions, online marketplaces, or trusted coin dealers often fetch better prices for well-preserved examples like this one. So, whether you're buying or selling, keep an eye on the market to make sure you're getting the best deal. While the 1958 Lincoln penny with a large date and D mint mark may not be the rarest penny out there, it certainly holds a special place in U.S. coin history. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, this coin is a must-have for any Lincoln penny collection. It's a tangible piece of the past that remains affordable, yet valuable. Next up, the 1969 Washington quarter. In good condition, you're in the right place. In today's video, we'll break down how much this silver coin could sell for in today's auction market. Let's get started. Close-up of the 1969 Washington quarter showing the obverse side. George Washington's. Here we have the 1969 Washington quarter, a coin that holds significant historical value in the world of U.S. coinage. This is a clad coin, meaning it's made from a copper-nickel alloy rather than silver, but it's still a key piece for collectors. Today, we're focusing on the large date variety without the mint mark, which indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, let's talk about the condition of this particular coin. When we say it's in good condition, we mean that the coin shows some noticeable wear, but still retains its overall shape and design. A good grade typically means the coin has visible wear on the surfaces and on the features, but key details are still legible. For the 1969 Washington quarter, this means Washington's face is still clear enough to identify, though it may be worn down and slightly smoothed. On the obverse, George Washington's portrait is still identifiable, but it will show some significant wear, especially on the cheek and hair areas. The reverse side, featuring the eagle with outstretched wings, will also show wear, but you can still make out the bird's general form, and the United States of America lettering along the rim. Coins in good condition often lack the fine details you'd see in higher-grade coins, but they still have a lot of charm and a place in a well-rounded collection. So, how much does a 1969 Washington quarter in good condition go for in the current market? At today's auction market, a 1969 Washington quarter in good condition typically sells for around $20,000. This value can vary depending on factors like the specific auction and the level of interest from bidders, but it generally stays within this range. The absence of a mint mark tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and since the 1969 quarters were produced in fairly high numbers, this keeps the price on the lower end. Now, if this coin were in a higher condition, say very fine or extra fine, you could expect it to fetch a bit more, possibly $30,000 or more. But in good condition, the value is generally lower because the wear has taken a toll on its finer details. It's always a good idea to look for any errors or varieties that might add extra value. Even in good condition, if you spot something unusual like a minting error or an off-center strike, it could make the coin more valuable. However, this coin in its current state isn't known for any rare errors or variations. Next up, the 1945 Lincoln penny with a large date and no mint mark in very fine condition. If you're wondering what this coin is worth today, stick around, because I'm going to break down everything you need to know, from its historical background to its value on the market right now. Let's get started. First, let's set the stage. The 1945 Lincoln penny was minted at the tail end of World War II. During this period, the U.S. economy was transitioning from wartime production to peacetime industry. The demand for pennies was high as the economy was in the process of rebuilding, and the Lincoln Wheat series continued to circulate in the hands of everyday Americans. Now, let's talk about the key feature that sets this penny apart: the large date. The 1945 penny is unique because it was produced with a large date variety. The larger numbers are clearly visible, making it easy for collectors to spot this version. And if you look closely, you'll notice there's no mint mark on this penny, which means it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse, we still have the iconic wheat design by Victor David Brenner, which has graced the Lincoln penny since its debut in 1909. The wheat stalks on either side of the coin represent the agricultural strength of America, and this design remained a staple until 1958. Now, let's talk about the coin's condition. This 1945 Lincoln penny is in very fine condition, which means it has seen some circulation, but the details are still strong and well-defined. The high points on the coin, like Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks, show slight wear, but overall, the coin still maintains a lot of its original luster. Coins in very fine condition often exhibit little to no significant damage, making them highly collectible. To put this into perspective, let's compare it with coins in other grades. Coins in poor or damaged condition typically have lower value, while those in mint or uncirculated condition free from wear and scratches are worth much more. A very fine condition coin like this one strikes a nice balance. It's been used, but still retains plenty of charm and appeal. When it comes to valuing coins like the 1945 Lincoln penny, the grade is crucial. The grading scale ranges from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect uncirculated coin. A very fine coin typically falls between 20 and 30 on the scale, which means it shows some wear but is still very collectible. Now, let's talk value. In today's market, a 1945 Lincoln penny in very fine condition can be worth anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, depending on the specific market and buyer interest. It's a modest value compared to some of the rarest coins, but it's a solid addition to any collection, especially for collectors looking for high-quality examples of wheat pennies. Of course, the value of any coin can vary depending on where and how it's sold. A coin sold through an auction house or a reputable dealer might fetch a little more, especially if it's part of a larger collection. On the other hand, it might go for less if it's sold casually or outside of a collector's circle. If you're thinking of selling or preserving your 1945 Lincoln penny, be sure to handle it with care. Always hold it by the edges to avoid getting oils from your fingers on the face of the coin, and consider placing it in a protective holder to keep it safe from any further wear or environmental damage. Now, this 1945 penny may not be the rarest of the Lincoln series, but it's certainly a great coin for any collector. With its distinctive large date and the absence of a mint mark, it's a fun piece to have in your collection. And the market for wheat pennies remains strong, especially for coins in good or better condition. Next up, the 1998 Washington quarter with P mint mark. In very fine condition and how much it's worth in today's auction market. Is it a hidden treasure? Let's find out. First, let's talk about the design. The obverse features the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Above his head, you'll see Liberty, and to the left, the phrase, "In God We Trust." Below his chin, the 1998 date is clearly visible, and right next to it, you'll see the P mint mark, indicating that this coin was minted in Philadelphia. Flipping over to the reverse, we have the American bald eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing peace and strength. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are above, and at the bottom, you'll see the denomination quarter dollar. So, how does a very fine VF condition coin compare to other grades? In this condition, you'll notice some moderate wear, but the main details are still sharp. Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers may show slight flattening, but they're still visible. This grade is better than a good or fine condition coin, but it's not as crisp as an extra fine or uncirculated coin. The 1998 P Washington quarter had a massive mintage of 896,268,000 coins. That means this is a very common coin, which does affect its value. It's also important to note that this quarter is not silver, it's made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. However, even common coins can fetch good prices depending on their condition and demand at auctions. Now, let's talk about value. In today's auction market, a 1998 P Washington quarter in very fine condition typically sells for around $400 to $500. Because it's a widely circulated coin, collectors generally look for higher grades like MS, mint state coins, which can fetch between $700 to $800+ if in top condition. So, while this coin may not be worth a fortune, it's still a great piece for collectors, especially if you're putting together a full set of Washington quarters. Always check for minting errors, as those can dramatically increase a coin's value. To summarize, the 1998 P Washington quarter in very fine condition is worth about $500 to $1,000 in auctions today. It's a great collector's piece, and if you have one in a higher grade, you might have something even more valuable. Next up, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln penny, with a large date and D mint mark, in extra fine condition. You might be surprised at just how much this penny could be worth in today's market. Stick around to learn all about its history, its condition, and its value for collectors. To start, let's talk about the context of this coin. The 1955 Lincoln penny was minted during a time when the United States was enjoying a post-war economic boom. After World War II, the nation was experiencing rapid growth, and coinage continued to be minted at full production. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909, was still in full swing during the 1950s, and the 1955 penny is one of the iconic coins in this series. The 1955 penny stands out because of its large date. You can clearly see the difference between the large date and the small date version, which was minted in the same year. The large date is much easier to spot. Its numbers are larger and more distinct. This particular coin also features D mint mark, meaning it was minted in Denver, Colorado. While not as rare as some other mint marks, the D mint mark still carries its own significance among collectors. On the reverse, we still have the classic wheat design, which was used for Lincoln pennies from 1909 to 1958. The reverse side showcases two stalks of wheat, a design that was created by engraver Victor David Brenner. This design is not only visually appealing but also represents the agricultural roots of the United States during that era. Now let's dive into the condition of this coin. This 1955 Lincoln penny is in extra fine condition. So, what does that mean? Coins in extra fine condition have visible wear, but the details are still sharp and clear. The coin might have slight wear on the high points, but the features, such as Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks, are well defined. It's a coin that has been used but hasn't seen too much wear, just enough to show its age and journey through circulation. To put it into perspective, let's compare this coin to others in different conditions. On one end, we have a heavily worn or damaged coin, which will naturally have a much lower value. On the other end, you have a coin in mint or uncirculated condition, which is worth significantly more. The extra fine condition coin falls somewhere in between. It's been used, but it's still very much collectible and valuable. When it comes to determining the value of coins like this 1955 penny, grading plays a big role. Coin grading is done on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being the perfect uncirculated coin. Extra fine condition coins generally range between 40 to 45 on the grading scale. This means that the coin has had some wear, but still retains a lot of its original beauty. If you want to get your coin graded, it's a good idea to have it evaluated by a professional to get an accurate understanding of its value. Handling your coin properly is also crucial to maintaining its value. Be sure to handle it by the edges, not the face, to avoid further wear. And of course, placing your coin in a protective holder will prevent it from accumulating any more dirt or damage. Now let's get to the most exciting part, the value. In today's market, a 1955 Lincoln penny with D mint mark in extra fine condition could be worth anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000, depending on the auction and buyer interest. While it might not break the bank like some rare coins, it's still a great find for collectors, especially those looking to complete their sets or invest in high-quality pennies. The value of this penny can fluctuate based on demand. If it's sold to the right collector, someone who's looking for a well-preserved 1955 penny with the D mint mark, the price could reach the higher end of that range. And if it's sold to someone just filling out their collection, it may go for a bit lower. Either way, this coin is a solid addition to any collection. If you're considering buying or selling a 1955 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition, it's always a good idea to check with reputable coin dealers or auction houses. They can help you determine the right price based on current market trends and demand for coins of that year and mint mark. As with any coin, the value of the 1955 Lincoln penny is influenced by factors like its condition, rarity, and the level of interest in the market. While a 1955 penny in extra fine condition is certainly valuable, there are other years, mint marks, and varieties that can fetch even higher prices. Next up, we're diving into the 1990 D Washington quarter with large date in extra fine condition. How much is this coin worth in today's auction market? Let's find out. Let's start by taking a closer look at the design. On the obverse, we have the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Above his head, you'll see Liberty, and to the left, the phrase, "In God We Trust." Below his chin, the 1990 date is clearly visible, with D mint mark indicating that this coin was minted in Denver. Flipping to the reverse, we have the American bald eagle, standing proudly with its wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. The inscriptions, United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, appear above, and the denomination $quarter is displayed at the bottom. Now, let's talk about the condition. In extra fine XF condition, this coin has light wear on the highest points, but the details remain sharp and clear. You'll notice slight flattening on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, but they're still visible. This grade is much better than a fine or very fine coin and is more desirable to collectors. The 1990D Washington quarter had a massive mintage of approximately 927,638,181 coins. That makes it a very common quarter, which affects its value. Also keep in mind that this quarter is not silver, it's made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. Only pre-1965 quarters contain 90% silver, so this one is strictly a collector's piece, not a silver investment. Now let's get to the exciting part. Its value. In today's auction market, a 1990D Washington quarter in extra fine condition is worth around $1 to $2. However, if you find one in mint state, MS 65 or higher, it can sell for $15 to $20, $25 or more depending on demand. So while this quarter isn't rare, it's still a great piece for collectors completing a Washington quarter set. Always check for minting errors like double dies or off-center strikes. These could increase its value significantly. To sum it up, the 1990D Washington quarter in extra fine condition is worth about $50 in today's market. Higher grade examples can fetch much more, especially if they're uncirculated. So, if you have one, hold on to it. Could be a great addition to your collection. Do you own a 1990D Washington quarter? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest coin videos. Next up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln penny with D mint mark. If you've ever wondered how much this penny is worth today, especially in fine condition, you're in for a treat. Stick with me as we break down its design, condition, and current market value. Let's start with the obverse, which features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln. This design, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, has been a staple of the Lincoln penny since 1909. On this coin, we can see the year 1952 clearly stamped above Lincoln's portrait with the words "Liberty" on the left side and "In God We Trust" on the right side. Now here's an important detail: the D mint mark located just beneath the date. This tells us that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The mint mark is important for collectors because coins from different mints can have slight variations, and sometimes they're more valuable depending on the demand. Turning the coin over, we can see the reverse design, which features two ears of wheat surrounding the words "E pluribus unum" and "United States of America." At the bottom, we see the denomination 1 cent. This wheat design was used on the Lincoln penny from 1909 to 1958, and it's one of the most beloved designs among collectors. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. This 1952 Lincoln penny is in fine condition, meaning it has been circulated but still retains a good amount of its original detail. The details on Lincoln's portrait are still visible, although there's some light wear, especially on the high points. The wheat ears on the reverse are still clear, and you can read 1 cent without any issue. The fine condition makes it a nice example for collectors looking for affordable pieces with decent preservation. So, what is this 1952 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark worth today? In today's market, a 1952 Lincoln penny in fine condition typically sells for around. While it's not a high-value coin, it's still an affordable piece for collectors looking to add to their collection, especially considering it's made of copper and has historical significance. In terms of auction value, these coins are generally affordable, but as with any collectible, the price can vary based on demand, rarity, and the specific condition of the coin. On average, you might find a 1952 Lincoln penny in fine condition selling for somewhere between $70,000, sometimes a bit more if it's part of a high-demand collection or set. If you own a 1952 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark in fine condition, be sure to take care of it properly. Using a coin holder or capsule will protect it from dirt, scratches, and further wear. Also, handling it with clean hands or wearing gloves ensures that you don't damage the coin over time. A little care goes a long way in preserving its value. To wrap things up, the 1952 Lincoln penny with D mint mark in fine condition has an estimated value of about $80,000 in today's market. While not an expensive coin, it's a great one to add to your collection for its historical importance and availability. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and found the information helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Have you ever come across a 1952 Lincoln penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video.